Welcome to Book Look with Gingerbear. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back with another look at what I think is a bit of a unique book. This is based on a comic book series called Dawn Runner. This, however, is not just a big hardcover of the comic. This is a French edition hardcover, oversized black and white edition. You can kind of see here, it's huge. It's nice. It's based on this 5-issue comic series that came out by Dark Horse. You can kind of see the difference in size from the regular comic. It's not like an artist edition where it's full size, but it's bigger, but still manageable to stick on your shelf or fit on your desk to look through. But yeah, I highly recommend the series. The story is really cool and unique in its own way. The art is brilliant. It's sort of a play on kaiju versus mech warrior type of thing, you know, like Pacific Rim made the play on it, lots of anime and manga. This is by Ram V and Evan Cagle. I don't know much about Ram V. Evan Cagle's the artist. He is French, so once again another French artist kicking our butts. So many good ones in illustration and animation. But his work it's beautiful. I've been following it for a while. He was streaming on Twitch for a while. I think it was The Third Mask. And you could just kind of watch him draw, and his stuff was like this beautiful illustration. As you can see here, we'll get into the black and white, but even in color, it's very beautifully drawn. It takes a second to focus there. But screw the color stuff. Let's move on to what we're here for. The black and white edition. And it's also sort of a matte paper, which makes it not as reflective in the light, which makes it easier to record. And also, just it's more pleasing to look at for me. That's why I liked old newsprint in comics instead of the glossy reprints they do for omnibuses and trades. But yeah, to start here, this first page is an introduction of what you're going to be in for here. I'm going to do a lot of zooming in and out. Hopefully this doesn't give you a headache. But if I zoom in here, you can see the level of detail and precise line work he has going on. But it's also got a bit of cartooniness and, style to his work. Let's see. Zoom back out here so we can see it all. But yeah, as you'll see as we go through, it's a big book, so I'm not going to show every page. I'll just kind of flip through, look at some highlights, and flip through some of it quickly. But spoiler alert up ahead, so that no one watches the whole thing. This is a reprint of the entire 5-issue series. So if you don't want to see the ending, then don't watch. But yeah, it's a play on kaiju and mechs, and it's this female character. She is a mech fighter, and there's this portal that opened up over the city, or over the world, that brought these creatures through. And there was a big battle with them until they eventually built a giant wall to hold them in, and they send these giant mechs through, and it's become almost like a sport. They go in there and televise it of them taking out these creatures when they get too close to the wall. So that's sort of where their story starts. But yeah, this is one of the things that first turned me on to it when I saw it in the comic store. His stuff is very beautifully drawn, but also even things like this, the stylization, this movement through here with the lines and the background and the crazy like calf and the feet. It's just a really nice style. Just the whole thing about it has great gesture and speed. I love it. And got a very European feel to a lot of the characters and line work as well. Yeah, here we go. First double page spread. And yeah, this is beautiful. Let me see if I can open it up. So there's so much stuff like this that looks cool in the comic, but to see it full size, it's great. But The colors are really nice in this too, but at the same time, it just hides a lot of beautiful line work in here that I like seeing. Maybe this is just me being an artist, and I used to be an assistant inker too for Chuck Gibson, and that was pretty fun too. So maybe I have more of an appreciation for it than most people. But as you can see here, there's just, look at all that line work through those clouds. That's so neat to look at and just so visually appealing. So, and even here, this sort of rough tick marks and hatching and line work, it's almost kind of messy when you go up close, but it almost makes like a halftone sheet, like zipatone effect to it as it fades out. It looks like they're layering halftone in areas through this as well. You can kind of see it in there for the gradients. So let's keep going. Can't be here all night. So yeah, really nice, just kind of hard surface work with buildings and mechs, which you'll see later, but also just great expression with all his characters too. I love it. I'm sure it stays centered here. Even here, you know, it's got a nice cartoony to us, but it's a nice, it's not realistic, but it's not goofy style either, you know. It's got drama. Man, look at that backdrop too. And this too has a sort of line work going through it. One thing I don't know about this is if he works digital or not. I'm assuming he does, but I can't be sure. That might be how they get effects like this, where it's cutting out line work, and like this, where it almost looks like a lithograph print of the background there. The reason I think it might be digital as well is when he used to stream on Twitch drawing, he would just be illustrating, not even really talking, just drawing with some music, and he'd be doing this really beautiful illustrative work that almost looks Renaissance style. And he was doing it in Photoshop with a pencil brush, and it would just be these really intricate, detailed pencils, and it just looked beautiful. And a lot of the stuff he'd draw on there, I don't even know where he printed it. I don't see it on his Instagram a lot of the time, but maybe I didn't look hard enough. But yeah, so if he was doing all that digital and it looks so analog and beautiful that way, maybe he's doing the same with this. So it makes sense using Clip Studio maybe to save a lot of time using this halftone pattern, zipatone I call it, because that's what the old sheets were called, that you could actually manually cut it out, which I can't imagine he's doing for all this. But he does live in, well, I don't know if in Europe you can get it, but in the US you can't. It's almost impossible to get zipatone sheets of any kind here. A lot of people go to Japan, and there's a famous art store there where people get it all the time. They just go there and stock up, which I'm probably going to Japan at the end of this year, and I have a trip planned to go to that very store and do that very thing and stock up on it. Even though I work in Clip Studio a lot, it'd be nice to have that for analog. Yeah, look at, man, that's so awesome. Let me zoom in on this too. There's so many pieces in here that are, it almost reminds me of Otomo sometimes too, with just how it's so detailed, but you've sort of got this cartoony style with the characters, and it blends so seamlessly. But yeah, look at just the line work in that mouth. I kind of like when artists don't spot solid blacks, they sort of do it with line work like this too, which, you know, drawing it that way makes it take 10 times longer than just blacking it out. But if you have the time and the patience to do it, it looks really cool. So, but yeah, so this is one of the, I'm just calling them kaiju. I forget what, it's all based on this portal that opened above Guatemala, and they talk about it at the beginning here, the first couple pages. And the creatures that come through are called the Tetsa. And that's kind of their name for the type of kaiju. And this is one of them. They're different shapes and sizes as well. And so this is the first one coming out, and they send the mechs in to fight them. You can sort of see one coming in here. There we go. But then the way she gets in this, she's trying out this new mech that they designed, and she's one of their star fighter pilots, or mech pilots. God, I'm having brain farts left and right, but they call them the Kings. Sorry, their mechs are called... Man, I was just reading this again too. Oh, the Iron Kings. Yeah, that's right. That's what they call their mechs, the Iron Kings. So they created a new Iron King that she's gonna try out on this supposedly weak kaiju. Tetsa, sorry, not kaiju, Tetsa. And this is how she links up to it. It's sort of a neural interface, like is somewhat common with these types of stories. And she lays in this pool of liquid and hooks up to all these tubes behind her, and then the top comes down and seals her in, almost like a womb. And yeah, you can see how much stuff connects to her. It's like almost a full body interface, not just neural network. And man, I love how he draws all this tech and everything too. It's another thing that reminds me of Katsuhiro Otomo, or even Richard Bennett. If you go check out the series Brass by Richard Bennett that came out from Image back in the 90s, that stuff has a lot of really cool tech like this too. It's really cool to look at. And the first issue of that has a big oversized black and white issue, which maybe I'll do a book look on that someday. But yeah, here we go. I mean, my god. You could just look at this all day, you know. I can kind of zoom in on all the detail, but I mean, he does not slack anywhere at all. And same thing, no solid blacks really, very little. It's all sort of just hatched and drawn in and mixed with Zipatone to get the darker values. And the more I look at it, it's kind of crazy how much zip they use through all this, how much halftone. But it works really well. Yeah, here's more. I mean, look at that creature arm coming in. That is just nuts. And I'm going a little slow here. I'm going to start flipping through faster in a bit, but just to kind of show you what kind of stuff you get in here. It looks great in the regular colored comics too, if you can get them. They're probably still on the shelf at your comic store. I would recommend picking them up. I don't think a trade has come out yet. But also, if you like it enough and want to see the art, I recommend this French edition. The only drawback is it's a bit expensive because you're ordering it from a French book company from France, so you have to pay for international shipping. I think it was about $25 shipping for me, and the book itself was maybe $50. I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But if anyone's interested, I will put a link in the description to this video as well, so you can go find it and grab a copy. Oh man, yeah. God, if I could look at some of these original pages. When I look online, it looks like he usually does appearances and conventions in Europe or mainly France, and I'm not over there. I'm here in the America. So I wish I could find him at a table or something in Artist Alley, and he'd just have like a portfolio of all these original pages to flip through. That would be amazing. But like I said, they might be digital, so they might not even exist. But even just full 11x17 printouts would be pretty awesome. But yeah, it's hard because when you look real close, a lot of this line quality has like a sort of scratchiness to it too. It's hard to tell if it's just manipulated digitally for some of these effects on top of analog inked artwork with, like, you know, this almost looks like it was done with a crow quill in some places, or brush. It's beautiful work. Like that looks like almost like rapidograph or something, or these famous Japanese pens, the high-tech C's, you know. Okay, here we go. If you see a little jump in the editing there, everything froze on me, so I had to reboot everything and restart. But as I was saying, this is the high-tech C pen. These are great fine line pens used by concept artists and illustrators and everything. They're really good ink flow, really good tools. And they can get really fine point too. This is a 0.5 and this is pretty fine, but you can get down to a 0.25 even, and that's too small for me. But anyway, getting back to the business at hand. Let's keep going, speed it up a little bit here. We don't want to be here for 5 hours. You can get the book and look at it yourself as well, because it's definitely worth seeing in person. But yeah, he's just a master at everything too, and it's all consistent style. You know, vehicles, cities, environments, people, crowds, clothing. just nails it all. Such a great style. God, just his action is really good too. His pacing, his layout. I'm very jealous. He's really good at everything. I wish I knew more about him, though. I don't find much info aside from his website and his art online. So, not that I put in tons of work stalking him to find him or anything. But it'd be cool if he did more demos where he talks or something. Whenever he used to stream on Twitch, he would just put music on and pretty much draw silently for hours. I think it was the Third Mask. I think that's his, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been probably a year or two since I saw him stream art. I'm not sure if he still does it. I just haven't been looking for it. I see a channel called the Third Mask stream sometimes, but they're actually playing games, so could be still him as well. He never wrote his name on the stream or talked about himself. He would just start it with no notice and just stream drawing for a while. So I don't know, maybe he doesn't speak English too. Maybe he only speaks French. I don't know. But oh man, see these. Like I said, I'll keep saying I think it's digital, but I don't know. If these are original pages, my God, to see this in person would be amazing. I love his little swirliness he gets in his design and his work too. Even with the nose there where it comes out, little swirls on her nose. Let's see. There. Yeah, just little swirly deal, and just the way all his lines swoop around. I really like it. It really appeals to me. Let's keep going here. Oh yeah, this print. I'm not sure if this is by him though. This looks like more anime, but I don't see a signature on it. But it's a nice, cool image of her and her mech, the Dawn. The mech itself is called the Dawn Runner, which that's not a huge spoiler. That's all introduced in the first few pages of the first issue. I'm trying not to spoil too much of the story other than sort of the intro, because you could sort of look at this artwork without spoiling the story too much. And you can't read it in this edition because it has all the dialogue. That's from the cover. It's cool. I always like it better in black and white, even though the colorist in these deserves their credit, because they don't really muddy the artwork, they complement it pretty well. So me saying I like the black and white better is by no means discrediting the colorist or speaking ill of their work and quality. Yeah, just keep flipping through a little faster. If there's any highlights, stop. Look at this guy's bed, his bedroom. It's just like just across two pages. I mean, this statuey face, but this is the kind of stuff he would draw on his stream. You can kind of get in there. It's like a comic book version of Joseph Clement Cole, or Franklin Booth doing comics, or even Charles Vess, if anyone knows Charles Vess's work, which here's another book of Charles Vess's work too that maybe I'll do a stream on sometime. It's another big black and white edition of his work. Very illustrative, beautiful work, but don't want to distract too much. Get back in there. All right. Look at that. That is crazy. It's almost like too much detail in some places, but you can see it's all this cross-hatching and everything in there. That's not... There's some tone mixed in there too, like the dot patterns, but also there's all this real inking with all those lines. It's nuts. So much work. I'd like to know how long it took him to draw this. I'm not sure how much comic work he does, but this must have taken forever. Feeling very Otomo in there, or Shiro. Let's keep going. Chaos. All right. Going. I'm just gonna kind of start flipping through faster. Look at that very Otomo style cities and destruction with beasts. Yeah. Uh-oh. Nudity a tiny bit. Don't cancel me, YouTube, please. Yeah, really good hospital thing. It's her daughter in the hospital. Yeah, there's a really cool creature coming through. I don't think I have that cover though for this issue. My cover was... Oh yeah, no, I have a different one, this one. And then issue 5. So there was 4 covers for each one, so I love these two. Most of them I got were Evans, except for one, which was this one. Which, I'm not sure the name of the artist. I'm not familiar with them. But, this is the Dan... Yeah, this Dan Quintana did this cover. Alright. I mean, my god. Look at that thing. And this is the other stuff he would draw on his stream. All these clouds. It looks like... What's it called? Lithographs, like the cutout style. It is just crazy. I wish I had the patience to do all that and to be so precise with the line work. It is... Pull it up again here. I mean, look at that. Woo! Ooh, it's getting some sort of weird effect in the light. Yeah. Beautiful work, just to stare at that all day. And plus the mech himself is so freaking cool. Ah, man, it feels like so out of my level of art, like so beyond what I could achieve. It's so good. This guy's probably 25 years old too. Nah, I'm sure he's a older seasoned adult, but you never know. Could be some sort of prodigy, and he's been drawing like this since he was 12 years old. He probably does this monthly too. Nah, I'm kidding. There's no way possible he does this monthly. If he does, I mean, I don't think even Kim Jong-gi could do. Well, maybe Kim Jong-gi would be the only person I would think that could do something this detailed and monthly. But even him, I don't know if he could pull it off. He did a lot of comics work in Korea, but I haven't seen it, and I'm not sure how fast he was for that. That's just crazy. That is nuts. Man. I guess that's one of the... Wait, that's the cover I have? I didn't even recognize it without the colors. The colors add a lot to this, actually. I think this is one place where it does actually help it to separate things, because there's the little girl with her toy in the middle, and just the whole... It's hard to even tell that that's a mech creature behind her, and she's standing in front. It all gets lost, but here it separates it really nicely with this hand coming out. You can almost see the depth and shape of the creature too, so yeah, it helps a lot there, I think. But even still, I like looking at this. I'll stare at it all day. I guess he could have used some more line weights to really break it up and show some depth, especially with this background stuff. But maybe he knew the colors was going to come in and look like this, and if he had just made all this background line work without these sort of thicker edges, just all real thin like the interior lines, it might have just disappeared behind the color, which would be a tragedy. So it stands out nicely with the color. So I think whatever their plan was for a collaboration, it worked out very well. Oh man, it's just like he doesn't slack in later issues either. There's some books that come out like this. The first issue will be just insane detail, but then deadlines creep up, you know, their energy wanes. It starts to drain them, realizing how much work they have to do for several more issues in the style that they started in. And it gets a little looser, a little less detailed, but not so on this. It is Same quality, if not higher, as the book goes on. This is just a page in the story. They cut to this sort of, it plays into the story when you read it, but it's a nice cut to this serene landscape, and it's just so detailed. Just the line work for such a simple thing, it is crazy. And it just, the values in it are so beautiful and done so well without even the color in it. This stuff the Sky put in, that's why I wonder if this is digital too. They might have manipulated some Sky texture, but this is not manipulated. This is full on drawn, maybe with some zip over it, dark shade, but you can see all that line work, just like those clouds on the previous page. Alright, and then this is almost like Jeff Darrow level, big guy and Rusty the Boy Robot fighting kaiju style. And there's always like a giant wall keeping him out, like Attack on Titan maybe, that's sort of the basis of the story too. But instead of to keep them out, it sort of keeps them in. Yeah, great scale in a lot of these shots too. But we're getting pretty long in the tooth here for this book, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. Oh yeah, there's some great stuff. Well, let me zoom out. This is from early in the book, but this is just a huge full-size fold-out. Amazing. This mech itself from there. The art gallery, different covers, pretty interesting stuff. These almost just don't stand up though, because the interior is so beautiful, like fine art. Should be in a museum. That's cool. Like that. Definitely some more anime style feeling stuff, which matches. Who's this? Jay Lee? That there's no signature, but that looks like Jay Lee, or someone trying to be Jay Lee. That's crazy too. Is this the names of the artists? Yeah, it is. I don't. Dies Potter, a German guy. I don't know. Gax. I don't know. This looks like it could be a Daniel Warren Johnson fever dream or something. Deep Under Eye, that's great. I just got this book in the mail, so some of this I haven't even seen yet either, because I haven't had enough time to flip through it. I just started, and I was like, man, I gotta share this with people. It's so neat. Yeah, cool design, mech designs. Oh, that looks like pencil on paper. Maybe it's all done analog. I'm secretly hopeful it was, so that someday we could see all this in person on Bristleboard. Whoa, they made 3D prints. Oh, did they make a 3D print of the mech to use as reference, maybe? That would be pretty cool. Those are great. Even background characters and stuff. Great designs. Cool logos and stuff, too. Maybe these are just sketchbook stuff, though, when the book was digital. Hard to know. Yeah, a lot of these lines remind me of Atomo, too. Just the quality of line around edges. So it's really hard to say. This is definitely all drawn on paper, though. This is probably digital gray wash, but could almost be done with watercolor or diluted ink. God, even these diagrams are so detailed. Like, did he do all these himself? He must be a concept designer too. Maybe he just does this on the side for comics. Even the Dawn Runner logos. This is neat. Oh, this is that 2-page spread I showed, like the rough of it. And this is on... This is actually a digital template. I've seen these ones. That's like the arty stacked ones, it looks like. But maybe not. But I don't know if this is drawn in or just a scan put on this page. I must know! Why can't I read French? It might actually say in here. If anyone can read French and buys this book, please let me know. On pet observer. I'm not even going to try to speak French. Un ser sombre. Yeah, it sounds like I'm speaking Spanish. My French is so bad. Oh, anyway, there it is. Dawn Runner. So, really cool story. Like I said, check out the comics. If you need a more affordable version, you can get locally. But if you have the opportunity, check out this book as well. It's beautiful and it's worth every penny in my opinion. So, and as you can see, the cover is beautiful and every page throughout keeps the same level of quality. So anyway, thanks for joining me on this one, and I will talk with you soon.